Welcome to Something to Marvel About, a podcast where we discuss and dissect the week's MCU releases. My name's English Dave, and joining me because they also like to put themselves through trauma, my co-hosts Raven and Andrew. What's up?
Sad but true.
What's
What up, Dave?
What's up?
We're here to talk Daredevil Born Again, Episode 3, The Hollow of His Hands. You know, this episode does a good job of reminding us that this new era of Marvel television, what they should have done a long time ago, is make the episodes feel both episodic, yet with an overarching theme, right? I feel like other stories would have had this one case be the whole season. You know, because a lot of my issue, even some of the best ones, my issue, some of the Marvel and Star Wars TV shows is that they felt, again, the good ones too, felt like a movie split into chapters, right? You took a movie and you split it into chapters, as opposed to feeling like episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, like where you're distinctively remembering what happened in each episode because they feel they have this kind of contained nature. It feels like television, right? And I think this episode kind of leans more into that. This is a TV show in a superhero world as opposed to trying to mimic the movies.
Yeah.
And I think they leaned into even the courtroom drama of it all. This felt like a court case happening in the Marvel Universe. Spoiler free. I'll start with you, Raven. What did you think of this episode?
I think the one thing I never think of is the spoiler free review. That's what I think. But
the one starting job you have.
You know what? We can move on. You don't have to give a spoiler free review. That is your spoiler free review. Andrew, what is your spoiler free?
Spoiler free review is that this episode it did take a kind of backseat in terms of action sequences, but in terms of a solid episode, that it was to me. I enjoyed it. But I'm a big fan of Suits and The Wire and the likes, and I feel like we got to see a lot, not just of like Lawyer Matt, but also the effects of Kingpin in this city. So it's almost like seeing Matt trying to fight the good fight in a city that's no longer good, type of thing. So yeah, I'm trying to carefully craft my spoiler free, but I enjoyed it personally, even though it was a little bit of a different speed. It was actually like you said, they wrapped up a storyline kind of quickly, which I liked, and I feel like the ramifications are gonna lead to like crazy things loading. So yeah, I enjoyed it, but I'm a lawyer case fan personally.
But that's the thing with Daredevil, right? I think a good Daredevil story. I've been rereading a lot of Daredevil comics lately. I have a little comic book club. Shout out to my comic book club. And we've been rereading Daredevil. And I think the balance of Daredevil is the balance is the lawyer life and the vigilante life, right? He will go through the law first, right? The judge, he will give justice the chance, right? He's going to say, justice
is justified when he brings out these heads.
But he goes Daredevil mode when justice fails him, right? And it's not a spoiler to say we're at a time here now where he's focusing more on letting justice take care of it and less on Daredevil. And a lot of this episode is having that discussion of, do I go back to that, or do you go back to that life, which is better to help people vigilante versus the law? And well, the law has changed and vigilantes take things upon themselves. This discussion is always great narratives to have in Daredevil, which we shall go into right now. Let's go into full spoilers. Raven, I'm going to start with you. All right, a lot of things happen in this episode. We know the ending. But let's backtrack a bit and go with the case. I want to start with you, this opening sequence, because it does a great job of bookending the story, right? Where Hector talks about Puerto Rico and the cocky frogs. What did you think of that monologue opening?
Well, I love the whole thing because, first of all, the Puerto Rican community is such a large part of New York. There's a phrase such as, New Yorican, which is, there's so many Puerto Ricans in New York that is basically another Puerto Rico. And there are so many people who live in New York who, remember growing up in Puerto Rico, and, it's a place that's near and dear to their hearts. And I like that, to some extent, that's Hector's happy place that he's in right now because he's in prison. And I also think that in some ways it symbolizes the fact that Hector has sort of accepted his fate. He doesn't think that he's going to win this, this case at all. So I feel like this moment is kind of his moment of, telling Matt, this is who I actually am, despite what I'm probably going to be labeled as forever. Like, this is who I am. This is my culture. This is what I stand for, kind of thing. And I love that. And I looked into it a little bit, and the story of, the Koki frog, and the story that he tells is that, our goddess fell in love with the chief's son, and the god of chaos came in and stole the boy. They never saw each other again, the goddess. So she created a frog that would call out to him. His name was Koki, and she would call out to him forever, just in case he ever, reappeared. So the Koki frog is actually symbolism uh, of persistence, because the longing and the fact that the frog is always going to be calling out is like a sign of overcoming adversity and persistence and strength
Wow, wow, wow.
and
I'm not
love.
crying, you're crying.
Wow.
But I also feel
I
like
thought I
it
was
comes
watching a
back at
comic
the
book
end.
story.
Oh, that
And it
end
obviously comes back in the end. We hear the sound of the Koki after,
on
the
the beach.
poor situation
Chef's kiss.
happens. The Koki on the beach. And I love it. I love that, it's sort of in ways it's the White Tiger story. It's the story of, Hector's wrongdoing. And it's also becomes the story of his wife eventually, who's always gonna kind of be calling out to White Tiger. And, she might never see him again because the Lord of Chaos took him away.
And just when you find out, we're jumping a bit, when you find out that why he was on the train platform that day, because he
Oh,
saved money.
Just
that's
had
the thing
to.
too. It's also
Just
very,
had to.
reminiscent of the story of the frog. It's like
Exactly.
that love or that the courting,
Mhm.
and it's so sad. Like, oh,
Oh,
and
it's
she
like, that's why he
just
had the
found out.
flowers.
Did you
She
even
didn't.
get
That's
to move in yet?
right.
Yeah.
He didn't get to surprise her. That's how
Oh,
she found out through the case. Because even I like how it's played out. I mean, he was a fantastic actor. R.I.P. Um, just the way he reacts when they ask him, "What were you doing?" He doesn't want to say it because he didn't want to ruin the surprise. Even in this
Mm-hmm.
moment,
Yeah.
he's hesitant to ruin the
Uh,
surprise. Right? It just shows you how
that man loves his wife.
love
and
her,
just the
man.
fact that he actually died in real life, I literally
It makes
wrote
it so much worse.
it's just no,
So much
it's
worse.
just I don't know.
Just
It's so
Tears.
much worse. It's like Black Panther. I'll never watch that movie again.
Listen, same though. Like
I
same.
will never
Like
watch Wakanda forever
thanks,
again.
thanks. Ibambe. Uh,
before we get to the court case, Andrew, I want to ask you about Wilson and Vanessa, his wife. Right? They're still going through therapy. And basically what's happening is she's like, power vacuum, we just sorted it out. And he's like, nah, let them fight each other. But underlining,
what is peace?
but you get a sense of, yes, she uses the fact of power vacuum, but you get a sense of, and I might be reading into this, but do you feel that she's getting a sense of she's kind of feeling this power? Because when she talks about the
Oh,
painting, that,
definitely.
there's a new painting that's coming in. In the past, when she talked about painting, it was about the painting. Now she's like, yeah, and I can flip it. So, Andy, what do you think is happening there in terms of, because clearly Wilson has his greater plans that are not necessarily for good, but what do
Yeah.
you think about kind of this clash between the two of them and how to move forward?
Right. It's like just different leadership styles. Because Wilson is kind of like I just keep all the chess pieces where I can see them and control them. Whereas she's like, Prophet, I can turn this? What? Turn a brick into a mountain? Yes. And that's actually what I love about her, because she's gone from listen, you convinced me to join this life, all right? Don't tell me to now go half speed, right? Or like, oh, just be you, but kind of you. Like, no, and again, he literally was gone when Echo was, doing magic to his brain. Like, she was here alone, and the fact that she was able to control all these guys to not turn on her, it shows that she at least has some level of respect. So yeah, I feel like they're definitely gonna clash, and he is punishing her for Adam or whatever his name is.
We haven't seen him
Mhm.
yet there.
Okay,
Yeah,
Adam.
seen who the corpse?
I mean, do you
We
think
still
keep
don't know
seeing,
how he got those knuckles, so we still have to find out if Fisk got those bruised knuckles. That's all I'm saying.
And they
He
always
said,
cheekily show
I
them,
won't touch it. That
Mhm.
doesn't mean he wasn't touched.
right?
It just means he's not going to do it.
He like told the bodyguard, throw his head against my fist. I won't
Make
move.
sure you trip him
Yeah,
directly in front of where
repeatedly.
Mike is. Yeah.
But no, the scene with them on opposite sides of the table at dinner, Fisk and Vanessa, just so powerful. Like it's an interesting. It's one of those stories, almost like House of Cards if you watched it, right? When you get to the top, but like apart. It's like you never grow together. Bad things can end well. So it's kind of it's fun to see because this is not going to end well, right? I just can't see either of them ceding or just seceding. What is the word? Like taking back their own personalities, and she's not going to become smaller than she feels she is. So it's gonna be interesting. I just see some violence there. I'm not sure how, but I'm on Vanessa's side for whatever's happening here. I hope Vanessa gets everything.
I think it's interesting that you bring up about that dinner scene, because in at least the Netflix show, having dinner, in fact, he would cook breakfast or egg or dinner eggs for her.
The omelet.
The omelet. Like,
Yeah.
food was something that brought them together.
Yeah, like you really enjoyed that part of their relationship.
It's intimate. It was that intimate moments. Right?
Yeah.
Now they're sitting eating food and
Opposite
it's just
sides of the table.
But also look who's preparing the food. He's not even cooking for her. And like even the symbolism of when they first started, when they were eating together in the original Daredevil series, they're sitting across from each other at a breakfast bar, at the kitchen table, and you see throughout these scenes the table and the distance is getting longer and longer.
Yeah.
Which definitely gives the audience, even without seeing them go to therapy and without having to hear behind the scenes that, oh, this is looking bad for the polls. You as the viewer definitely get the idea of like, okay,
Yeah.
there's some literal distance here, I do love that visual for sure.
And I think Fisk, his issue, I would say, is that he's not sharing information, right? He clearly has a plan, but he's not fully, he just like go with it. Because I think part of his plan is where she's like, hey, if we don't do this, there's going to be chaos. I think he wants the chaos.
He's like,
because he wants to come in as the savior. I was gonna say white savior, but yeah,
exactly. That's right.
Yeah.
And these vigilantes can't do anything about it. Like
we literally said they're rats. Let them kill each other.
Rats,
like,
right? Exactly. Like, oof.
Damn, not rats. Those are your homies a couple weeks ago. I remember you and the hoodie crew.
That sounds about right for politicians.
Don't say that. That was your boys a couple months ago. Don't
That's
front.
politics.
But you needed stuff moved, all right? They was the ones you were giving a call. Don't front now.
Though we see that they don't worry about turning on each other. It's like, yeah, this is the offer. Oh, bet, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Cheers.
Tracksuit boys.
Let's go to the case. We're going to break it down in moments.
All right.
One, I like the transition where we went from Fisk's fist to Matt washing his fists.
Oh, I was going to say visually is so great. Well, I love the fact that also it's Fisk's wounds healing and Matt's wounds are fresh. They're both like in different sides. They're always different sides of the same coin,
Yeah. Speak.
But seriously, I love that. That's the whole thing is, because Fisk is trying to repair, his public image and trying to kind of atone for what he's done. Whereas with Matt, you're rehashing these wounds, you're reopening these, these sores. And now you're becoming this person who has to be brutal and maybe even more than usual. So I'm excited. Man, Disney budget. I'm like, how many more episodes we got?
Flex. I think there's like 9 for the season.
Because I'm trying to see some ass whipping. Some hallway scenes.
Speaking of ass whipping, before they go in, Matt bumps into Officer Powell in the restroom.
Man, I'll whip his ass too, man. If I see Officer Powell, it's on sight. All right?
Literally,
it's on sight. Because you thought you were attacking a blind man, first of all. You thought you were attacking and going to kill a blind man.
Which is crazy. I mean,
again, you didn't know he could fight. You had no idea.
Again,
and then
Matt is blind. He's just really skillful. He is blind. He's not pretending he's not blind.
But this is my thing. He is blind. But you know what I'm saying? You thought you were attacking a typical blind man, which goes to show like you ain't shit, man. You're a really effed up individual. Because until that blind man whipped your ass, you thought, I'm just going to kill this dude and he ain't going to see me.
But even then, he was like, he couldn't handle it so much when he comes to the bathroom. He's like, you don't need those glasses. He tried to call him out, thinking, you can't be blind.
That's it.
I didn't get beaten by a blind man. That guy can see.
Right.
And then he tries to kind of blackmail Matt, be like, oh, if they found out that you can fight. And it's like, cool, tell them. If they found out what you did, let's go.
Right, because the thing is, how are you going to explain that I can fight?
Let's go.
You're going to tell him what happened to your face?
Huh? And like later on is like, oh, I've been informed. I was informed that you have a black eye. Are you okay?
Just
That really
trolling him
pissed
in
him
the
off.
courtroom.
like,
I heard you
yeah,
have to have quicker hands.
yeah, it's like
Yeah,
Ah.
right.
I
That
was
was the
like,
that was the
best
best.
line.
It was like,
That was
but I love
actually
that
the
it was
best
like a
line.
little hint at his boxing background.
of
Yeah.
course, of course.
They're like,
It's just
They
like
were
yeah.
doing so
Papa
good.
Murdoch taught him that one. I
The
forgot what
best
his
remedy for
dad's
black eye.
boxing name was.
Do you know how much that was how much is that's an insult? Like, do you know a great remedy for a black eye? Quicker hands.
Faster
Right.
hands.
Faster
Because now I'm
hands.
gonna fight you again. I might
Yeah.
lose, and I don't care. 'cause
That,
those
and then
fighting words.
it's even worse coming from the person who gave you the black eye.
That's what I'm saying. Just taunting
that
you in your
everybody
face,
doesn't know, and you
knowing
can't
you're
let
not
them
gonna say
know
nothing.
because it'll make it worse because you were hit by a blind guy. So it's
Because you
like you
sitting in
just
their face like you gonna tell him, huh?
yeah.
You want to tell them that
Please,
fucked you up?
please.
You gonna tell him?
Please tell him. Please tell him. Well,
These
it's
are fun.
interesting though. Again, I don't know. Maybe I think of these things too much, but I was very surprised to see that he didn't have like some kind of neck brace because I feel like Dedo fucked him up even more last episode.
I thought he was dead.
Honestly, same because wife and I were like, "Wow, no!" She literally said, "Oh, Matt is killing people now." I think we're like, "Oh,
Yeah,
okay."
I was like-
I didn't. Oh, murder. All right, cool.
And
And
I
then
was
you
like,
see them just
Justified.
chipper.
One
fair
less
enough.
scum of the earth running around here.
That's great.
No,
I
but
hope you had the same
I was
thought.
surprised to see Officer
Yeah.
Powell so soon.
I'm like, I mean, well
Okay,
done,
Officer
sir, I guess.
Powell.
Right? At the least, I expected this one of those neck braces like this. You know,
Yeah.
Maybe
those
he's
full-
got super
yeah.
healing abilities or
Yeah.
something we don't know about. Maybe he's a little powered up too.
right?
'Cause,
It could be. You never know.
Yeah, because
You
a
never know.
regular human being would have definitely spent some days in the ER.
At least.
At least two. At least two. How many days has it been? I think it's too soon. I'm surprised Officer
Mm,
Powell
yeah.
isn't blind right now, if I'm being honest.
All right. So,
The fact that Officer Powell can see is quite the miracle. There you go. Religion. Daredevil.
I like when Powell was being
Compassionate.
questioned. Powell was being questioned, and when I read it, oh yeah, and then they're trying all these things to kind of make him look like a good cop. He goes
Yeah.
commendations of excellence, 3 of them, 1 for integrity and 2 for community service. What the is that?
just like
And a part of me was like, you are officer. Isn't like your job community service? Like, how you getting props for that? Like, that's weird. Like,
oh, I
and
mean,
don't-
maybe he did. Maybe he's the one
And
like
don't you
the guys
usually
that-
only clock in time for community service if like you're trying to get a
recycle
scholarship
the
or like you're in
cans or
trouble? Like
something.
why do you know what I'm saying? Like if you
Also
got in
that-
trouble, then people be like community service. Like
yeah.
and then you have to count the hours. And then it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I did 100 hours community service.
Might as well
because
get a badge
broke
for
the
it.
law.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So I'm like, what are you trying to tell us? Like,
Like-
you locked up or
It's like, which I
you
like it.
punished?
And we'll come back to that later. I like how that contrasts to when they kind of like talking about all the achievements that Hector had done. Right, like oh, this person loves him, this person, the police like him. Like that contrast in terms of recommendations.
Actually
Let's
useful.
backtrack. I'm going to ask you both a
5-star
question.
reviews.
One question for Raven, one question for Andrew. Raven, the first question is how much did your heart beat in relief when Cherry got stopped at the car by the police? And you're like, no, and then the reveal of the fake out. What do you think of that? How did you
First
feel
of
in
all, that whole
moment?
scene gave me so much anxiety. Like the whole thing, the
Waiting.
whole thing, just all of it. Like, 'cause it took me kind of like a second or two to even figure out what was going on. I was like, oh, like they're transporting a witness. Okay, they're
Mhm.
transporting what is it, Nikki Torres?
Mhm.
So I'm like, all right, got it. You know, and then I also thought like he was in the van, but then a part of me
Yeah.
was like, Cherry, you idiot. Of course you're gonna get followed. But
Yeah.
they know who you are, Cherry. You know what I'm saying? So I was mad. Like, what kind of car are we in? There's got to be some type of diversion. They can't be this dumb. Also, little fact, but all of the scenes during, Cherry trying to get away and the scenes in the court were all handheld, which really makes the audience kind of feel more like as a part of the actual scene itself.
Ooh.
Like you feel less in control of
Like
the
you're
scene
there.
and the situation, right? Because you're in it. And then some of the angles too, like sometimes in the angles we were actually in, we were in the not the podium, we were in the booths, the
The
Pews.
jury booth.
prizes, the jury.
No, it's like
Not
the
that
people that are
bad.
watching the case. The back.
Yeah. Well, no,
Uh,
with the jury. So
Oh, with the
they
jury,
The
opened-
jury
okay.
booth.
The jury stand? I don't know.
Yeah,
The
they
jury-
were sitting with the jury. So, there was like moments where the camera angle was, of that of the jury. There was times that the camera angle was, from the angle and perspective of the police officers. There's times where we get the judge's angle. So I felt like all of those moments kind of make you feel like we don't know who to side with either.
We are.
and it just built for so much tension. Like I don't think I inhaled for like at least 2 minutes.
Changed
But
up the
when it
whole
was
time.
revealed that the truck was empty, like even now I'm like, ugh, still like, oh, thank God, but the cab
were you
was
like,
so smart.
right?
I don't know, has that happened before? Like, have we seen that in any of the
I like,
million shows with
right?
hostage situations where they have to
Oh.
transport them safely to the point where I'm almost like, are they letting out like an actual secret right now? Like, is that something that the cops are
Well, it
Right?
doing
makes
and
Like,
like I
sense.
never knew? Because it's genius. It's like, yeah, just put him in a cab. Nobody's gonna follow every cab in New York City.
it's literally impossible.
And it makes
Right.
sense because again, Cherry's a retired detective, and he was great when he was doing it. And it showcases that this is not his first rodeo.
Like,
He even
no
comes with a bit of
second, no
coke. He's
third.
like, yeah,
Right.
here's some coke for you.
He's
Get your
like,
shit
all right,
together.
hurry up, and
I was like, yeah, he's
wake
a
up,
car
boy.
plays dirty.
He's
My
he's
kind of
been
guy.
he's done this before.
Yeah.
I love Cherry. I like the guy, he calls me Cherry Cola.
Very cool. Yeah, I love it.
And
Yeah, very, very, very good. Very good.
yeah,
All the
and
setup.
then which leads
Cherry's
me
dying
to,
this season, huh?
well, can I tell you, I hope he doesn't. At least
Mm,
at least I'm not saying he doesn't die in the show, but give him another season. Like
I think
I
Cherry
hope
might get
so.
fridged. I don't know, man.
yeah,
Because it's all
Somebody's
the
getting
writing's on the
fridged.
wall.
I mean,
And they can't do it to what's her name?
The
Kristen?
psychiatric
McDuffie?
lady.
I don't think they're gonna do it to
See,
Kirsten.
that's the thing.
I
I think
think
the
she's
fridge is
gonna
gonna be
last
Heather.
like 3 seasons.
I think it's gonna be Heather. I think
Oh,
she's
Heather's definitely frigid. She's getting
yeah.
fridged.
I
Because
think
she's
she's
nobody.
going.
I googled her, like I looked her up, like like I did a little deep dive because I'm like, all right, if her character ever comes back ever in the Marvel universe, then maybe she'll make it. You
Yeah,
know, and like her only role in the Marvel universe is that she's an heiress, like she's a like trust fund kid.
mhm.
So she's gonna die. Like she's definitely
Yeah,
gonna.
that's the thing. I
She's
think
not making
her.
it.
She's
to season 2.
definitely yeah. But
How? I'm not sure, but I think it might be Fisk strangulation. That's my vote.
Yeah, I'm actually.
How dare you tell my
match
wife
you.
that she's correct?
How dare you tell
And
her
not
to
side
leave
with
me?
me. And this is not
I
side
was
with
only
me.
murdering people every night. How could you?
Vanessa, I did this for you.
I think Vanessa is also gonna get penguined. I think she's gonna get Vicked.
And that's gonna lead to
Vic,
Fisk gonna
yeah.
be like, oh, the mayor shit. I'm back in the kingpin mode.
Yeah, exactly. Like I've removed the last part of my heart.
Andrew, continue that narrative with the witness. Everything feels great. Even I love the scene where Kristen is just like worried, and even Matt knows. He's like, stop looking. It's like, damn, is that good? How did you know I was looking? But
yeah, right.
you think they do a good job? And see if you agree with me. They do a
Was
good
it
job.
Taurus, right? Witness, yeah.
Yeah, we're building up the thing that the witness arrives. We're like, yeah, that's it.
Yes,
You guys, we're
finally.
gonna win the case.
Woohoo,
Yeah, woo, case closed. Let's go
Yeah.
party. Pop the bottle out.
Yeah.
How did you feel
Plus
when
one
he
for
was
the
like,
law.
yeah, no, I was at home this whole time.
I
Who
wish.
got to him?
I
Who
really
got to
wish.
him?
I wish Matt
I was
did the take off
screaming at my
glasses.
TV. I was
Even though
so
he's
mad.
blind, right? I really wish he took off his glasses. Like, no.
I'm blind too.
I'm not.
I'm blind and not deaf.
I
I
didn't
heard
see
you
this.
say.
Like, exactly right. I can see it.
You told
Thank God
me.
I can't see. Sorry, he's like, thank God I can't see because this is some bullshit. Like, what? No. Kudos to them. I didn't expect that. I know he thought he was. Even though, you know what, I should have assumed that.
Yeah,
of course
exactly.
it got to him. Like he was,
Man, they gave
and
you
this is
coke.
why I feel for right. And
Come on.
he'd be like, he'd be like
Isn't
Bailey
that
with a
how it
tiny
works?
bag. I mean.
Maybe
So,
he was
yeah.
upset. Maybe it's like the other guys that gave me an 8 ball.
Right? Highest bidder wins. So I mean, yeah, it was almost, I don't want to say naive of Matt because I feel for him. You went through all that effort, quote unquote, almost died. I mean, not really, but still went into peril just to
They
save this
thought
guy.
he almost
For
died.
him, for him to come back and just straight up lie.
Think about.
Oh my!
Like at that point, why come to court?
That's what I'm saying. And I was so mad. I was at home literally screaming. And I was like, nobody's going to protect you now, Nikki. Nobody. You're dead, man.
Literally, you're dead.
You hear me? You're dead. Don't you come around these streets, because no matter who runs into you, you're dead. Now you don't even have the protection of Daredevil, right? The cops see you, dead. Daredevil sees you, you might be dead because he's mad right now.
Literally, just stay home.
Shit, Cherry might bust a cap in that ass, honestly. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, you ain't safe, bro. You ain't safe. You're not safe on these streets. You're not safe. The best bet you had was to tell the truth. Because who's
And
going
you
to protect you
didn't.
now? Not the cops.
Yeah.
Not the cops. Who's going to keep you safe? Come on now.
So,
I'm
so
like, you know
that's
what? If
just
you
a
die
shame.
now, Nikki, I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn.
Like-
You're trying to condemn a black man or a Puerto Rican man that you know is innocent and has effed up.
Mhm.
Because you were there
Mhm.
and you down to just let him rot in jail. No, can't have it.
I'm
Nope.
curious. I'm curious when someone got to him. I mean, it's not
Nikki's
an
gonna get
important
eaten by the
detail.
rats.
That was my
that
thing.
Fisk
It was
talks
more the
about.
win, but I guess
Yeah.
there's a lot of time from when he ran out through that window.
I mean,
to-
also,
But
we
also, they
don't
should
know.
have like, I don't know. I'm like, don't they like keep an eye on witnesses during witness protection series?
But
like
yeah,
situations?
we know that
but
we know
who-
that
who
the police
keeps
are
an eye?
corrupt. Though.
Who keeps
Right,
an
but
eye
I'm
on the
like,
police?
Daredevil
police are
should have
corrupt.
stashed him. Like, you don't got no apartment, man.
But I think part of the narrative is, at least in these first few episodes, is Matt realizing how deep this corruption goes. 'Cause I don't think he's aware.
Yeah.
Right? He's not aware of
And
how
he can only
deep.
do so much, right, by
Mhm.
himself, especially
'Cause
because he's
also-
actually playing the lawyer side.
He's blind. He can't see those Punisher tattoos.
And
I'm just saying.
and for all his qualities, just gonna say that actually a big one, like
Bro, that's huge.
Because us audience, we're like, he's a Punisher guy. He's a guy.
He's a
The
Punisher.
guy with the neck. He's a guy.
Yo, that is
Matt's like
funny as
the John
hell.
Travolta in Pulp Fiction.
That's
Like,
how do you know?
I
That's
mean-
his braille tattoos, bro. I didn't think about that at all.
Exactly.
That is
So he would.
funny as hell.
he would-
Wow.
I mean, for all we know, Nikki got.
I'm having a whole moment.
That's
That's
funny.
funny.
like Mark,
I'm at home like,
get
Matt,
him.
it's so
One
obvious.
with the tattoo.
Right.
One with the tattoo.
He's
like, excuse me?
you privileged eyesight person. Huh?
Right.
Huh?
I'm like, it's so
Hi.
obvious, right? Come on.
Yeah. Because
Oh,
it could even be a moment. I had two
Can't
theories
see the
on when he
trend.
got. Maybe
One.
Cherry's partner wasn't so good, and he's the one that in the car is like, yo, just letting you know, you know, I'm not gonna kill you, but you know. Or it could have been in the courtroom. One of the
Yeah.
guys in the back was just like, see this tattoo? See this
Or, you know, somebody holding up a sign. You're dead. You're dead if you talk. Say anything.
This is completely random, but I was
Oh,
talking about name belts like a couple of days ago, and I was just
Yeah.
thinking to myself, somebody just has the
Yeah.
digital like, you in danger, girl.
Ticker. The ticker. Just going.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just doing a countdown.
You're in danger, girl. Yes,
You ain't say you in danger, girl.
Yeah, you.
Well, Raven, that change of plans leads to Matt having to pull a Hail Mary, go
That's
against his own shit,
man.
and he
That
was
shit
just
got
like,
feisty. I've never thought Matt
felt-
was attractive ever, but that little moment, I was like, oh, Matt Murdock. Okay.
I felt like
What
it
did-
was a real
Okay,
Daredevil
Matthew.
sleeping in.
right.
Matthew.
I liked how the line of talking starts, right? Matt's just like, hey, you a guy, right? You like help people? Yeah, you like help people? How often do you help people? You help people all the
No,
time?
especially-
Huh? You be
Especially because we all knew. It's like,
Oh. I was like, he's not gonna do it. He's not gonna. Oh, he's doing it. He's
and
going
Hector
for
was
it.
all like, yo, dude, we had this conversation. You told me. I love the judge's reaction, like this mother.
He was looking at him. He's not.
Yes.
I know this motherfucker not about to.
because
he
he broke
did
so
it.
many rules.
Oh,
Like,
he
you're
did
not
it.
allowed to
You-
do that.
But
You
but
didn't-
even
you
outside
didn't
the
admit
rules, it's like
evidence.
you lectured me on the
Yeah.
right and wrong of this
Yeah.
stuff.
Honestly, plot armor. Because if I'm that judge, I'm like, nah, you, man. I mean,
But I did like what the lawyer,
But-
the judge says.
but-
It's like
yeah,
I can't like tell him not to.
But-
At this point, it's out.
exactly. It's like he thought through the process. To be
Yeah.
fair, it's
Just
just like you
like
could tell he
you-
was grumpy the rest of the afternoon. Like after Matt was
Yeah,
giving the
that will
story
get you in
later, he's
trouble,
like,
though,
shut
'cause
up, bro.
Technically, you're supposed to reveal everything you're gonna
One
reveal
reveal,
to the
two, you
judge.
swore, you lied to a judge. Let's be real.
Big on that part.
I mean, we don't know that there won't be ramifications.
I
mean, in
there's
terms of- in terms
there's
of- in terms of his-
honestly
I think
rumors.
his job as a
there
lawyer.
will be, man. I think so because one, he went up against the whole police force. You know, they stay salty after. Even the fact
They're
that
getting him
this
for
guy,
everything moving
yeah, the
forward.
fact
Well,
that he still got out. They're not gonna be.
But
happy,
didn't
right?
also the competing lawyer D.A. Hochberg, he was just like, I will get you.
He said he
basically-
has 500.
Yeah.
They have 500 with associates or whatever A&As. They don't like if you cross the street.
Yeah,
I'm
even the
mad.
judge. Yeah, Judge Cooper was like, "Look, motherfucker, He gave
And
him the
and and I
eyes,
feel like
and the
they're doing
eyes
this on
weren't.
purpose because for me, it's like,
The eyes weren't.
because for me, it's like, we lost Foggy, and you're just seeing like you're just seeing a Matt by himself because the Foggy was always a big part of Matt, even when they weren't like close. He was still kind of like the real him back in.
Like logic.
Now
Yeah,
he's just
Let's
Foggy
like,
think
kept him
about it.
in the lines. Like
and even if
Foggy was
not,
like, "All right,
yeah,
this
and
is
if
the
not,
law."
oh my God, what's her name from True Blood? Wow, Rachel. Karen,
Ah,
Karen,
Karen.
Karen,
Yeah,
Yeah,
Karen
thank you.
Page.
Deborah Ann
And
Wall.
yeah, or her, right? Because now it's just him doing the law and
Look
just
at
being
me. I got
pissed,
my
right?
IMDb page open.
Hey,
My
hey.
wife critiqued me last week. She's like, "You need to learn people's names, babe." I was like, "Fine."
Yeah, it's about time.
Right. I was gonna get it by episode 5.
What I like about this episode as
Probably.
well is throughout this episode, and Raven, I'm going to come to you this one, is that it does a lot of job of every time we're speaking to Hector and what Hector does as a superhero and vigilante, it's really also kind of, there's a double kind of meaning to it. Where he's also talking to Matt himself, right?
Does a what?
When Matt, it's also talking to Matt,
Could
right?
reference
Whatever's been said to
Daredevil.
Hector, it's like reflecting on him, where Hector, he's like, you should quit this life. And Hector's like, I can't just quit. It's who I am. No matter what I do, I can't quit. Which is also a reflection on Matt, because Matt, you can pretend you're trying to quit.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
You could tell yourself that you're quitting,
Yeah.
but you're not really quitting this life, right? It's
And
just
Matt
like this
tries
kind
to
of,
tell him there's other ways you can help. Oh, like
Mhm.
you're doing right now?
Exactly. That's what I was going to ask you. In that kind of that scene where Hector feels betrayed, but then Matt's trying to tell him like, "Hey, there's other ways to do it." What did you think of that kind of dynamic of just the whole trial being really it's a trial for vigilantes, right? This is for Matt's sake, right? Is this a good thing or a bad thing?
Yeah, I like that the dialogue scene was sort of like mirroring Matt's sort of subconscious or his psyche or the conversation he has with himself every day, right? Because he's a man that battles with being a man of the law, but also a man of God, but also civilian, who is affected by, he's, a dude from New York. I love that the scene where he comes back to the courtroom, is symbolic and it's almost made to mirror like a confessional or a church. It looks like him like sitting down at the pews about to pray. And he sits at the benches and stares at the podium. Um, yeah, I love the symbolism there because those of you that don't know, Matt Murdock is huge on religion. That's one of his biggest things. He's very devout Catholic. So one of the biggest things about his character is his constant confliction with, trying to do no harm and trying to, do the right thing and that, but also trying to defend people who can't. So I do love kind of the dichotomy of the whole scene of like, okay, this is the battle, and I think to some extent, Matt is also asking these questions because he needs these answers himself. Even if Henry can't provide them, I think that these are questions that Matt asks himself all the time. So I did love how it played out and how the audience is forced to wonder like what really is the difference between, the police, Matt Murdock, White Tiger, like they're all doing similar things. They're all supposed to be fighting for the same thing. It's just the methods are different, and that's kind of what we love about Marvel. But
And they also
villains
get
and
a
Marvel
sense that
characters in general is that there's no real
Mhm.
good guys,
And you also get a sense that Matt's kind of trying to
Super Spider-Man.
you fake it till you make it, lie to yourself so much,
Yeah, man.
right? To believe it, where it's just like, yeah, no, you find yourself enjoying not being the hero. It's like, are
Right,
you
he's
really
like
enjoying
projecting.
it? Are you projecting here? And which
Mm.
I really I like about that. Andrew, I'm gonna come to you again. This episode does a great job of kind of putting in this emotional roller coaster. I usually watch my shows and movies with subtitles on, but when the jury was giving their verdict, I was like, don't look at
I
subtitles.
literally did the same
so
thing.
funny
I was like,
'cause-
don't look down. Don't look down.
That's funny. My wife was like,
I
"Oh,
can't hear
sometimes they're
without
spoiling
that.
it."
Yeah, because sometimes
Alright.
it's show early, right?
Yep.
And so you miss the pauses.
Yep.
Drives me
Andrew,
nuts.
I wanna
Especially
ask
the fact
you,
that there were
Andrew,
3 different ones. Oh my gosh.
what did you
yeah.
think? Yeah, I was gonna say. So, what were your assumptions on the verdicts, and how did you feel when you got the verdict? Raven, I'll come to you for the same question.
Man, I thought it was gonna be not guilty, not guilty, guilty. Bump. That'd be me for sure. but it also made sense because as soon as it was not guilty, not guilty, not guilty, I was like, oh damn, this is that. It's a Batman all over again. He getting shot. Falcone shooting him up right outside the courtroom. So like you just knew. It felt.
I love all the
I
references
actually
we
wish he
have.
was guilty, right? I almost wish he was guilty. Like
Yeah, protection.
I feel like he'd have survived in jail for a little bit more. At least there are no guns, right?
Actually, I'm gonna flip my question to Raven a bit. I know this is a Daredevil show, and I understand why we had the information that we have, right? Because we know what he knows, and the reason why Matt knows that Hector is innocent is because he can sense his heart rate and things like that. But is there a part of you, Raven, that you think you wish you'd seen the trial without knowing as an audience that he is innocent or guilty? And then would that have affected your feelings at the end of the trial, or do you think it could have gone either way still because the jury clearly obviously doesn't have the information that we have?
That's tough. I don't really think my anxiety could handle not knowing of the whole episode. You know what I'm saying? Like I was tense enough, like
Yeah.
throughout to where I'm
Like
like,
I'm
do I
fine. I
need
think it's
more
perfect.
mystery? No,
Yeah.
no, I'm okay with that. Would it have been cool to witness? Probably, but would I have like probably needed a break or pause between reveal and like end scene? Maybe. Ugh, like because a part of me, the thing is too, you can still go to jail for involuntary manslaughter.
Yeah.
Technically,
Yeah.
tripping someone and them dying. You
Yeah.
didn't plan it, but you could still go to jail for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
People
He didn't
people
free
go to
your
jail
boy.
all the time. Like, look at it's just a very small example, but look at Kang, all right? Ain't no Kang wars. And technically the only thing that he was found guilty of was involuntary assault. He accidentally, Jonathan Majors accidentally ripped someone's ear while trying to put them into a car
And
when
next
she
thing you
was
know,
drunk.
RDJ is back.
And that's all it took. And look, got canceled. All the movies done.
Downey
We don't
Jr.
even
is
see
all of a
Kang no
sudden, yeah.
more. So there's society punishes people all the time for trying to do the right thing. And I'm not
Good
saying
use of
Jonathan Majors
words.
is trying to do the right thing at all.
Okay, yeah.
But
Okay. Disclaimer.
I'm just saying sometimes there's icky scenarios to where the outcome, is kind of it could have been avoided, or it's like, damn, that's serious for this.
Even
I
if you're
get it,
innocent
you know?
in everything, you were just there. And you're
Yeah,
involved.
right. You know what I'm saying? Like you didn't exactly ask for this. You responded accordingly. Was it the right response? Probably not.
Were you
But
nosy? Maybe.
right.
But
Should you have not, been involved with these
mind your
people?
own
Probably,
business.
yeah. But
Whatever.
now these are the circumstances. So, we see it all the time where, innocent people go to jail, not so innocent people go to
Yeah.
jail. So I thought that this was gonna be one of those scenarios, especially
Yeah.
after Nikki Torres flipped.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
know,
I was like with
what are the
you
chances
guys.
that this show writers aren't gonna keep doing this
Mhm.
to us? Like,
I wa-
so for me, I was like, don't even get your hopes up. Nikki didn't even see anything, so
Right.
whatever. Got eyes and don't even use them. You see this privilege bullshit? Eyes work
What kind
just
of
fine.
informant?
You right
What kind
here
of
lying.
informant are you? Shitty
You ain't
informant.
seen nothing. What you
But
mean?
I feel like the
what,
jury
Raven?
also know that the
I gave
police
you
are
one
tough.
bump of coke.
Right?
Raven.
What do you mean
I
you don't
felt
want to die for me? No.
one act of realism. This episode does another good job of continuing to kind of showcase New York and the people of New York. Right. One realistic thing was the fact that there was no
Very
working cameras on
realistic.
the train station. No working cameras. Of course, there's not. But what
Shit,
I
no
liked was
working train.
right. What I did like, I want to in terms of as for someone like you who's a New Yorker, just those clips of seeing the New Yorkers kind of interacting with, oh, what do you think the case is going to be? Oh, they're going to kill him. Oh, like having these discussions that kind of how we're having now, right? One of the old guys like, back in my day, I'll pull a gun on someone I'm afraid to cap him.
Yeah. So I
What did
bartend
you
in New
think?
York. I've been
Yeah.
bartending for like 12 years now in New York. So
Who abused a
this
slave?
is literally right. That's how I feel. Slave to the man. To the machine. But yeah, so like, I encounter this kind of person every single day. This is what it's like for me when I go to work. People just constantly, oh, did you see the news today? Oh, yeah, so and so is guilty. They're saying so did it. Yeah, I'm sure it was the wife. I'm sure it was the husband, Oh yeah, the mayor is corrupt, the shit, Mayor Adams.
For his drink. For
But yeah, so with that being said, New Yorkers are naturally skeptical people. We're naturally hopeful cynics, hopefully cynical people. So I love that it's showing that like these people live and work here. you know, they have a passion for this city, but at the same time, they're not going to pretend that things aren't a way that they're not. You know, the New York mentality is just like, you know, we're going to be real with you no matter what. And I feel like that the interviews are kind of like the most New York thing about the show. Like it like brings me back to like, oh yeah, that's where we're at. This is the backdrop, you know? But I like it. I feel like it sets theme and tone, and it further makes you understand how somebody like Fisk could be, you know, thriving in office right now as the mayor.
And I think it's a really good job of showcasing the passage of time, right? Because sometimes in shows like this, you're not quite sure how much time
True.
is spent. The fact that people could be talking
Right,
about
like,
the
oh, it's been
case,
a week or two in the case.
right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
That is
It's not
right. I didn't think of that.
right. Exactly. It's like for the news to
Mhm.
spread and get far. I think it's a great way to kind of showcase that this didn't happen in one day. Right. We're going back and forth. Even things like Matt getting all those witnesses to talk about White Tiger, which let's go to that. Andrew, I want to ask you about that. You know, it's rare every time we see superheroes that look like that. You know, this guy looks cool, badass costume, you know, Black Panther style. Usually when we get stories about them, it's them beating up somebody. This is getting stories of a whole bunch of people he saved, right? He's someone who's a hero saved. So what did you think of witnessing the stories of all these people telling about their experiences with him, and such a confirmation that he has superpowers? I love how the jury's like, oh yeah, he has powers. Okay, cool. That's normal.
Right. Yeah. It is, right, because this is the world of the eight-legged spider. If you caught that this episode, so I mean, fair enough, and I like that. It's nice for a slice of time to see people in everyday life talking about the good effects of these vigilantes. Right, we feel like we're so often in the opposite side. Either they like over respect them or like over look up to them, like Captain America type, like, oh, or Thor is a god, or they hate them, right? It's not often where it's just like, hey, that guy's a really nice guy, you know, he helped out. I think that's partly why we love Spider-Man, right? It's like friendly neighborhood. So I like that, you know, we're starting we get more of that with their interaction with White Tiger. I honestly, anyways, I feel like we'll see more of the character White Tiger with, you know, his
There
niece
are
or
hints.
lady.
There are hints if you know the
Because
comics.
exactly,
Because
because
why they tell us their names? You don't have to tell us your
yeah,
niece's name. You can just say
yeah,
you have a niece.
exactly.
It's just so
Why
people to
did you?
Google, so people can Google the names and know their
Mm-hmm.
stories in the comics.
And sell some comics too.
Which is why Homegirl's gonna die.
It's
That is
still,
exactly why Heather's gonna die.
as long as we see more White Tiger, because
Cool.
it can't all have been brought to be wasted, right? That would almost be sad. But again, it was nice. It's nice that you know, it's one of those where like the White Tiger monocle will be remembered for having been someone who actually brought like proper actual like help to people, right? I feel like that's a nice way for them to kind of let him sign out. I feel like they did him dirty though. I'm sorry, because he really stood in the mirror, dressed up, put on the chain, and he just walked down the street and got shot. I was like,
The second I saw him
at
suit
least
up,
do
I was like, he
backflip.
gonna die. We ain't even gonna make it
Well,
another episode with this
well, I
man.
think let's backtrack a bit.
I
Firstly,
hate
I
being a
think
filmmaker. So much foreshadowing and
right.
Yeah.
scene selection.
Well, let's backtrack a bit. I think one that in terms of that discussion with him being a hero, with all those witnesses and the experiences, I think that did a good job of, because for many audiences, you might think, oh, he's a random, unknown, lesser known character, even within that world, right? But this showcases that he's known. You say White Tiger, people are like, oh, I know that guy. It's not like who.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought that
Yeah.
was a good way of kind of showcasing that he's known within New York, or
Yeah.
at least his immediate community of
Yeah.
Washington Heights. So I think that he's not just like, who the f- is this guy? And
Yeah.
I thought that was a great way to showcase that he's kind of
He's
established,
been around.
right? He's been around.
Yeah. I like that he's an actual local hero. And I also like you said, he's defending everybody. It's not just, you know, he's helping cops, civilians, you know, and plenty of people. And there's many different people from all walks of life that can attest to him being a savior to them in some sort of way, you know, and it obviously shows that he's that type of person. Like he just
Yeah.
helps people. Like he said, it's the right thing to do.
But
I will say though, I did get another big reason I thought he was gonna lose that case because Hochberg's response of like I do
was
good
going to
things
ask
too
you,
sometimes that make me a good person. I was like,
I was going to ask you
damn,
that
he kind of got
question.
a
That
point.
was a nice one though.
Yeah, I was
No,
like, ooh, you suckers
no,
got served.
his nice one was, Do you know what happens when the body gets hit by a train?
You said, do you know what
I was
happens
like,
to what?
when the body gets hit by a train.
Ooh,
That was
that
his
was
He
a,
nice
was
one.
like, yo, when after he described that,
I
he
was like,
said,
damn.
and you're still alive after all that. Yes.
I was
He
like,
died
ooh.
after the fact. Imagine.
Right.
Imagine the pain he was going
That's
through.
why I
Imagine,
swear I thought they were gonna say not guilty,
I was like, oh, he lost
guilty.
this. Hochberg's
All
good.
right. Okay.
That boy's
That was
good.
good. That
but
was
that's why
pretty good.
Hockford's mad at him. Is like, I pulled up all my stuff, so he still won.
Like,
Oh,
foul,
come
come
here,
on.
Jeanette.
I
Come
mean,
here,
but
Jeanette.
that's one of those situations where you got to really shake a hand and say good game.
Right.
That was like
Yeah.
But I
that
feel
was
like
like
that's the
the
thing.
finals
Hockford
right there where you win by 1 point.
But it wasn't a
in
good
over.
game. To be fair, if I was
Yeah.
saying it
mad.
wasn't a good game, that's why I'd be pissed. Like,
I like
I
that.
had you.
I
Literally
like that
had
he's someone
you.
who's like mad at Matt, not necessarily
Yeah.
Daredevil.
1 point by
Right.
technicality.
Right.
Yeah, true. I'm like, wow, Matt Murdock has an enemy.
Right.
Like,
He
you
is a
don't like
nemesis.
Matt Murdock.
Yeah.
Like, you might have to wear a mask to be safer.
Um,
Like,
let's get to Fisk. You know, Fisk finding out that the case was won, a vigilante won the case. Of course, this looks bad on him because he's been going against campaign against the vigilantes and
He
stuff like
said
that.
no.
And
No.
you
We
know,
don't do
clearly,
that
and
over
then
here.
I like that he brings. I want to ask you, Raven, about BB, right? Because Fisk is thinking in his mind, he thinks BB is going to be that person that allows me to tell my truth, and she's going to support me. I don't know. I think he's put too much faith in her. What do you think? Because
so for me,
I
I
think he
think
knows. Go on.
I think Fisk knows people in a dark way, and I think that my theory on Fisk is similar to how Trump won the election, right? Like, Trump won the election because he used people's fears and he used sources that past candidates deemed as unworthy or not reputable enough. So, you know, Trump was appealing to younger audiences, blog sites, you know, he's going on podcasts and stuff like that with more extremist
Yeah.
audiences. You know, but extreme audiences are loyal, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that Fisk at least realizing like I'm not one of the elites. I'm not somebody that has, you know, a big reputation for doing good. What I can do is get to people. And I think that turning to a blog site or turning to a more like blog oriented news or press outlet is more beneficial to somebody who's trying to rule by power and fear, because you'll get to the masses quicker because not everybody reads the Times. You know, think about it. Like, if you post a video on TikTok right now about the news, it's probably going to get more viewers than if you were to put it in
30K in an
actual,
hour.
in actual Newsday or in actual, you know, the Times. So I think it's a strategic choice, and I think that he is targeting a specific audience that he knows BB might have access to and other outlets might not.
But I think I 100% agree with you from his
But
point
I do
of
think
view.
he's underestimating her too.
Yes,
I
I think
think and hope she has something under
That will be his
up her sleeve,
undoing.
I
you
think
know?
for those of you who remember the previous
I don't know if
show,
he's guilty. I feel like he slightly feels guilty a little bit.
well, again, he killed her uncle,
Yeah,
right? And
that's
I
why I
think,
say guilty.
and this is why I think it's going. I think she knows. I think she's playing a long game because I think if you look at Fisk's intentions and what he wants to use her for in her platform, but you look at her videos, I don't think it gels because I think she's trying to show a truth, right? As opposed to kind of report kind of lies, things like that. I think he's going to bring her close. I think she's playing a long game because her uncle was killed trying to reveal who Fisk really was. I think she's going to finish that. You know, I think that she's kind of, he says a line last week's episode saying that she's probably used to being underestimated. And I think he's doing that to her. But I'm interested to see where her narrative goes there. Raven, we've talked about, we've mentioned about the death of Hector, just getting shot like that. And you get a sense that it was Fisk who set things up into play.
Yeah.
Right. So here's one question I ask you. For those who don't know, my brother, Andrew, Rodney was all like, oh my God, Punisher killed him. I was like, do you not pay attention?
Rodney, again? Come on, Rodney.
Punisher didn't kill him.
Telegram.
Yeah.
Ugh, Rodney.
I was trying to tell him, for those who don't understand,
You
is
blind too? No.
it's you're setting up a narrative where the police have probably seen a Punisher and then been radicalized by him thinking, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Punisher, Raven, what do you think the ramifications? Punisher's going to come back and like, they said, did what in my name?
Exactly. That's what I
Yeah,
can't wait
big
for.
time. I mean, 'cause first of all, it pisses me off in our Earth, that like a lot of law enforcement actually have Punisher symbolism like on their cars and on their trucks and all this stuff, specifically Jeeps. I don't know why. But either way, it always kind of pisses me off because I always think to myself, like, the whole thing about Punisher is going against the law to get justice. So as an officer of the law, what are you telling me about you? Are you telling me you're a dirty cop? Like, I don't understand. Because it's like technically it's vigilante mentality. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
Punisher goes against, because he, even though he's in the army, once, his family got killed, he was like, F that, to where like in the comics, he's at war with the NYPD and, and law enforcement and the government. So I feel like it's weird that
Like, he's not going to be with the
government and
corrupt people. The
right,
corrupt
like
takes
why
you down.
would he be on your side? Y'all are mad weird. Like his whole thing is
Yeah.
vigilante justice. Like you have a badge on, then you're obviously not on the same side. And what are you saying about yourself? Like investigate these people immediately because what are you saying? You know what I'm
I
saying?
think
Like
it's,
you got, it's
what I
just
think is
weird.
crazy is that they're
And I
so
think
brave.
that Punisher is gonna pop up and whoop some ass
You're
for
gonna be
real.
pissed.
Like I'm waiting for him to pop
He's
up
gonna
and just
I have a
start
copyright
smacking.
on that logo. You're going to pay me.
Right.
Yeah, bro. It took
you're
me
gonna see
hours
my
to come
lawyer.
up with that skull design. All right.
What I think is so brazen by the police force is that they're not even trying to be subtle with it. Big
That's
ass
what I'm
tattoo on the
saying.
wrist.
It's
Big
the
ass
tattoo on
tattoo
the
on the
neck.
wrist.
Yeah.
It's a neck tattoo. Come on. I thought you couldn't even be a cop with a neck tattoo. Get out of here. I'm like, I don't know, because I feel like if I was Punisher, I would be pissed. I feel like it's a similar thing to like with the Watchmen, in the continuation of the Watchmen comics after the movies, or after the main storyline. The whole thing is that like this new generation comes up idolizing Rorschach, and but it's mostly like super right extremists.
Like the wrong
where
things.
yeah, it's
The
like
complete
all the
abuse the
wrong
message.
things. It's all the things that he didn't, approve of. So I feel like it's a similar thing where it's like you stood for something and then your symbol got, the message of the symbol got misconstrued. So I'm waiting for Punisher to show up and whip some ass. And I looked into like Red Hook just in general because I was like, why is Red Hook immune? Right, why is it off limits? It's weird. I couldn't exactly figure it out, but the only thing that I really figured out, one is owned by all the 5 families. So it's like a neutral territory because everybody owns it equally.
Interesting.
Yeah, there was some like wars and effed up stuff that happened between the families and stuff. But it ends up Danny Rand and Rand Enterprises end up owning the Red Hook Piers.
I was
Like,
going to say
actually,
it's
like, the
real
physical
estate.
property.
It's all real estate.
Right. So it's real
gonna
estate.
play.
So I'm like, I hope that doesn't mean like the fucking cameo we get is gonna be Iron Fist. Like, I don't want that.
No, they
But
won't.
Yeah, please not.
but also there was like a
They're
big
smarter than that.
heist that also took place at the Red Hook Piers in Marvel Comics that involved the Punisher. So I'm thinking
Inspiration.
maybe some stuff was stolen at the Red Hook Piers.
I mean,
maybe
they took
we're
some stuff
getting
from the
closer.
van.
Yeah,
Remember
exactly.
the van
So
that got robbed?
maybe we're getting a little closer to seeing Punisher because he's in the area.
I mean, we know he's in the show. That's not a spoiler.
We
Right,
know for a
we've
fact.
seen him in the trailer.
Yeah,
So
yeah, we've
it's
seen him in the
literally
trailers.
a matter of when.
Yeah, exactly.
So
exactly.
I'm really wondering when, but I think we're getting closer and closer to hints. So I'm excited.
Speaking
But
of the
yeah,
robbery, when the
It's gonna
guy
be
at the truck is
pissed.
just like, I'm used to this. Here, take my shit. The other guy's like, nope.
Dude was mad calm, and then the other dude
Yeah.
tried to fight back and
Got me
plow.
killed. Guy got me killed. Like,
It's
killed both
that.
of them.
Ugh,
Like, this mother.
so annoying.
Like, bro, I told you to chill,
Unnecessary.
man.
Continuing ramifications question. Andrew, I'm asking you. Matt goes through he has fun time with his lady. He pulls out the
Heather?
drink because we drink this. I forget what drink. Raven, do you remember what drink? O'Malley's.
It's made up. Yeah, it's
Melbourne's,
Marvelese.
whatever. A drink that
It's
it was a
made
great way
up.
to kind of remember
It's
Foggy.
not real.
It's like, oh, Foggy's dead. That's all we used to do when we won a case. But Andrew, I don't think Matt knows just yet. But what do you think his reaction is finding out that Hector was killed?
And what will his reaction be?
Yeah, what do you think his reaction is going to be? Like, where does he go next? He went through the court system. He thought that the system helped him, but then ultimately,
It feels it's one of those where like he might sleep in the Daredevil costume for a week, right? Like he might park Matt for a little bit. Like, Matt, just like give me a second.
he's gonna sever Matt away.
Yeah,
Severance.
because it's, come on, he's tried. I mean, Foggy was killed. He said he'd go the right way. He won the case. They still killed the guy. It's just like, you know what? I can't. This isn't working, man. At least that's what I'm expecting, because
He's gonna go full Batman.
there's no way. Yeah, and I almost feel like I feel bad for his law partner. Well, I can't remember her name.
Kristen.
Kristen. Yeah, because I feel like this was already, well, maybe not, because they still won the case, right?
Yeah, the company, they won the case.
Let me not go too deep in that side,
I mean,
because they won the
technically, he
case.
won the case for fuck.
But
You
I
got
feel like
that
they won the
little
case,
win.
yeah.
A
But
little
then
bit of joy.
the NYPD is definitely gonna be like eyes on them, and then the other guy that he was gonna get into the or whatever, like it's not like a smooth win, like it's like a
It's
very
gonna get messed up like
friction
his last
heavy
apartment.
victory, right? Exactly. Things don't end well with Matt, so I feel like, yeah, he's gonna have a slice of happiness, but he's gonna spiral a little bit. He has to. It's like he saved the guy, but then he didn't save the guy in the end.
He even says to Heather, I'm so happy once in a while. It's good to know the system works. Like,
and it's like, I can't believe you guys said that right then. Like, come on, guy. Anyways, at least give him the night.
The worst thing about it is that the system works, and then cut to mask coming down. I was like, oh, he dead. He dead.
And then we're intercutting with Fisk talking about all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
So you can tell Fisk is making a phone call
to BB at the time.
Because first of all, even when Matt was like, he can never put the suit on again. In my head, I was like, he gonna put that suit on, he gonna die.
Right.
We know it. He's gonna put the suit on, and he's gonna die.
Love.
I thought we had at least one more episode till he put the suit on.
I thought he did at least,
But
like, spend the night with his wife and family.
I thought he was gonna go. I thought we were gonna see him at the house, maybe break.
I think that's why it was powerful, right?
Pukia,
Even the way he's killed, right? It's not a fight. It's not a battle. It's just
that was the worst thing. It's
straight up.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, come on.
Worst thing about he was so jolly.
Right.
He's so like doo bow.
Guy just walks away like he was nothing. Like he was just
like he probably died with a smile on his face.
I'm about to show the bodega
that's
my
what's
all
real
white.
messed up. He's in full skip. Like he's jolly jogging down the block.
His feet
up
and
to save
everything.
some folks. Right. What a shame. What a shame. Gone too soon.
Anyway, on that note, is there anything we haven't talked about that stood out to you? Any small moments or anything?
Maybe. Look like I'll go through my handy dandy notebook.
I hope, again, it's very early in the season, so this is not criticism. I do hope that we get to know more about Kristen and Cherry. So I feel like we don't know them. Like they're there. And even Kristen, we don't really know her. Right? She's just kind of there. She's a lawyer, whatever. But who are they? Why are they with Matt? Like, why are they in business, Matt? Why does Cherry work with him?
Yeah.
I feel like there's some again, we're early on, so these questions can be answered.
I think I actually hit all my notes. Look at me.
Look at that. Look at that.
Even perfect.
White
Fair
target
enough.
shot,
It is only an hour and 1 minute, so.
No, we started 20 minutes into recording.
I said a good 40 minutes.
Yeah, we're right on just at an hour.
This is good. Well, what do you nerdies think of the first 3 episodes? Find us on social media at The Nerdy Bunch. You can also send us recommendations by finding us on email, thenerdybunchpodcast@gmail.com. Check out some of our other podcasts. Andrew and I are doing both Severance and Invincible. I think they're both coming to their final episodes, right? Almost done. And we're going to start doing more movie reviews, forcing Raven to join us more often. So look out for those. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, David and Raven.
Thank you, Raven.
Thank you.
My name's English Dave, and this has been a Nerdy Bunch presentation of Something to Marvel About, where we spoke about Daredevil Born Again, Episode 3. And as always, Andrew,
keep it nerdy.
Peace.